That's it. I'm just unplugging the whole shit. Fuck you, Apple. Fuck you.
Wow.
All right, I'm good.
Excellent. Welcome to Don't Get Your Hopes Up, the show that we don't even know is happening some of the time. My name is Josh Allen, aka Lore, and joining me as always, the other one.
Damn.
Yeah.
Damn, bro. Dang.
That's my introduction. That's
cool.
what you get.
Yeah. So special for 20 edition, and that's it.
That's the sound that I make in response to that. So yeah, you know, whatever you'd like 420 of, get one today, because that's the meaning of the day. So anyway, speaking of things without meaning, apparently the Nintendo Classic is just not a thing now.
Yeah. So Nintendo, they released the Classic. You know what that is, right?
Yeah.
I actually have one right here.
Would you like a quick $1,000?
I know. So I bought it. Actually, I'm curious. The second it was announced that they're discontinuing it, I went on eBay and I bought one. Like the second I bought one, and the first one I went and ordered, the guy canceled it like within an hour. He must have got the notice that.
Yeah.
So let's see, Classic. And so I went back. I bought another one, and I bought it for like $180 or so.
Wow.
Or $170 or whatever. And yeah, I'm looking right now. They're going for $239, $349. Oh wait, no, the type of mini because it's looking at old ones. Mini. There's some for still up there for like $182, $200, $399, $349. They're all over the place. I think people think that because they're discontinued, they could jack the price up, and other people, they just don't know yet, and they're just throwing the shit up there. But definitely within probably the next 6 months or a year, it's probably going to the resale prices are probably going to go up again. So
yeah, it'll go up for a while, and then it'll start to taper off again because people just lose interest.
Mm-hmm. So it's the one I have is modded. It's got like 700 and something games on it. So
it's not even pristine.
Yeah, I know, right? I do have one gripe about it. So they made, they basically took the Nintendo, system, the NES system, and they shrunk it down so it fits in about the palm of your hand, right? Even if you have small hands, it'll still fit in your hand, okay? And the controller is still the correct size. I haven't compared it to my other USB Nintendo like knockoff controllers that I've accumulated over the years. But I do know that those ones don't feel like a classic Nintendo controller. This one does, and that shouldn't be a surprise, but it kind of is, given that here we are like 30 years later and the controls still feel the same. The D-pad was the biggest thing that I feel like none of them could get right, and of course Nintendo gets it right, of course. But the other thing is
down to the horrific hand cramps that you get if you play one for too long.
And the other thing is they did all this work to shrink the fucking size of the console down, and it is like there's like 1 millimeter gap if you were to lay the controller on top of it. Like they couldn't get it, like it's within like 2 millimeters difference, and it could have been exactly the same length as the controller itself. That's it.
I was wondering where you were going with the controller thing. So what you're saying is that they could have technically just made a tiny handheld thing.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
maybe it could be something that sometimes it's a handheld and sometimes it's a full console.
That's what I want. I want somebody kind of like the PS1 screen. Remember that? You do remember that, right? The little folding screen. So yeah, I want somebody to make that for the fucking NES Classic Mini.
Oh, for the Classic Mini. I was thinking make one for the Switch. It'll be the most useless thing ever.
So yeah, they discontinued it, and everybody was like, "Why would you do this?" Like just freaking out because everyone's like, "Just leave it out. There's no reason to discontinue it." I got 2 words: and probably only parents will get it, but fucking Disney Vault. 3 words, fine, but fucking Disney Vault. Do you know what that is?
I used to, but no, I forgot.
So what Disney does is they have, tons and tons of classic Disney movies, right? And they have a digital, reseller or a digital service, whatever you could buy them from. And what they do is they release or they re-release like Cinderella or something, right? But only for a limited time.
Oh,
and then it goes back in the vault, and they make a big deal out of it. And they're like, "Oh, it's back in the vault," and it's like, "Oh, it's fucking 50-year-old movie or something, right? Like, just fucking leave it out of the vaults, But no, they do that almost to like, it's almost kind of like whenever they're like, we need to get, we need to get some profits this quarter, fuck it, hey, put out Snow White, flip the switch on Snow White. And I feel like that's the same route that Nintendo could go into, like they can put those things behind closed doors, and then they can either re-release the same exact fucking one and still sell a shitload of them, in maybe 2 years or whatever, like a holiday season basically where they need some money, or
we found more stock.
Yeah, I know. Or they can turn around and maybe add some more games to it, which obviously would be useless for anybody that can plug it into a USB port, which it has right on the back. But yeah, I think it's brilliant on their part. There might be other reasons, like they want focus on Switch sales or something. Because sometimes they make silly decisions like that. But I think they're going the Disney Vault route. I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, it's still kind of an annoying practice, but the other interesting idea is that they just wanted to pull this away so that they could just go straight into the SNES Classic.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a bit optimistic. I think that's people attempting to rationalize something from a company that has never given any thought to what was rational anyway. That's kind of been part of their charm.
But they could, but that wouldn't be for years, though. I feel like we'd probably have another maybe 5 years before they introduce a SNES Classic.
I don't know. I don't think that's strictly true, just because there's also a very real possibility that they've just been watching market trends and they've seen, Nintendo Classic has started to drop off. Now it's time for us to pull that away entirely and come out with a new thing. And this time, absolutely everyone is going to try to snap one up right away.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Now,
the weirdest thing of all... So the Nintendo Classic was still... They have to be up to something weird, because the Nintendo Classic, it was still something that's like, oh my god, they have them in stock over here, you need to buy one right now. So they clearly weren't having issues with sales on the thing at all.
Right, yeah.
So it can have been some of it's time to... It can have been the thing I suggested a minute ago.
Yeah. But still, I mean, they could have continually let it roll out, and see where it went. But yeah, you're right. Like sales haven't been waning at all because of that. But
they've been selling 100% of their stock. Yeah.
And so in chat right now, and I get this every time I bring up the Classic Mini. It's like, oh, just make one, and I'm like, it's like I've already made fucking thousands of them. Every device in my home has some kind of emulator. I have a fucking app on my iPhone that is a file management thing. It's kind of like a drop, it was supposed to be like a PC to phone, kind of a Dropbox type system, right? And it's an old ass app before Dropbox and all that. And hidden inside of it is an emulator. You just basically file transfer ROMs, and then and when you go to open it, it'll open up in an emulator inside the app. Now, if you know how iOS app standards run, you cannot do that. That app is no longer available because that was reported and they took it down. So yes, I have an emulator on every device. The difference is that it doesn't matter. I'm gonna get another one, and then when another one comes down the line in a device, whatever, I'm gonna put a fucking emulator on that too. I want to have these games, so whenever I'm just in the mood, which could be once a year, right? I could just sit down and just play whatever that is. And the NES Classic Mini has the bonus, and I just pointed this out, but I'll point it out again because I feel like it needs to be done, of having an actual fucking controller that feels like a classic controller. And that is something that you cannot just emulate. You cannot just 3D print. You cannot just do that.
Yeah, Like I actually have a USB SNES controller. It's pretty close to an original SNES controller, but even if I didn't have that, if all I had was a keyboard, like you can still play. It sucks, but you can still play a lot of these games with a keyboard, or you hook up an Xbox controller or something. Like
Yeah.
if it was about being able to play the games, like that's an easily resolved problem. It's about being able to play the games with that sort of nostalgic, oh god, my fingers are actually going to kill me.
I know.
Sort of like feeling that goes along with it. It's more about reliving the past than about, I don't know,
Yeah.
reliving the past.
Yeah, exactly. So actually I was gonna hook it up and stream that. But then we found out about the whole patch thing for PUBG dropping tonight, I guess at 1 a.m. or something. And so tomorrow night we're probably gonna be doing that because of all the shit that they're adding and all the performance stuff. So I guess we gotta get the hopes out of the way today.
Gotta get them hoops out of the way. Where they are. So yeah, speaking of unnecessary masturbation, why is this in here? Why is the first topic on the list of topics for today, which we never do in order anyway, but why is the first topic the word jerk followed by the word off and finishing up with the word story?
So
What the hell?
I mean, I don't even know if it's a particularly good story. I've been like run into the ground this past week, and like little things are like slipping by me, but this story hit me today, and I was just like, "What? That actually happened?" So, I did a shoot today, and the model that I was working with, she mostly does erotic stuff, just like here and there, like mostly erotic stuff, and mostly like solo stuff or whatever, right? So, and we were shooting, and I don't shoot erotic necessarily, so but it was interesting hearing the stories of what she encountered, because she asked me, she goes, "What kind?" She asked me, "Do you have any like nightmare model stories?" And I was like, "Not really. I mean, once a model brought her grandma, but that's actually wasn't quite as weird as it sounds." And it really wasn't, because the grandma was fucking hot. So actually all worked out, but but I was like, yeah, like what do you, like, surely you have weirder stories, because photographers are all like, weird dudes, so surely you got something odd. And so she said she was doing a scene, right? She's basically doing a solo, masturbation scene or whatever, and there's a bunch of mirrors and shit like all over the place, and she's just sitting there just doing her thing, and leading up to that, like she was smoking with the guy. I guess keeping the 420 theme. She was smoking with the guy, and
Cigarettes, obviously.
No, and he kept on like, "Oh yeah, you want to smoke some more? Smoke some more?" Like during the scene, and he was kind of like getting closer and closer to her. And at one point, he tried to like touch her leg or whatever, but she kind of played it off and like moved away. And he was totally being a creeper, right? Just a total creeper, and it seemed pretty obvious. And she's like, "I was stoned, but I wasn't so stoned that I didn't realize this guy was being a creeper." I was like, "Oh yeah, right." And
yeah, it's difficult for cigarette smoke to affect you that much.
It's a lot of cigarettes, kids. So and so then she goes and she's like doing her scene or whatever, and she's a little like weirded out by the guy now, but she's still trying to like play it off, because she's like, well, if I don't, I could just play it off and then get paid and then leave and just never work with the guy again. That's kind of what she's hoping for. And if anything weird happens, like if he comes over and starts touching her or something like that, then she'll just fucking punch him in the dick and leave, and so she's doing her thing, and just kind of getting into it and whatever, or trying to, and she says the dude straight pulled out his junk and started jacking it.
Oh, Jesus.
And I was like, what? I was like, wow. But I've heard that before. Like, I've heard of like photographers, getting, raging boner and like getting really close to the model and like rubbing it on them or whatever, just kind of like through their jeans or some shit, or
Gross.
or I've heard of cases where they've like, they whipped it out, trying to be like, yeah, I whipped it out, aren't you turned on, right? Like it's a light, like a light, and the girl's the moth or something,
Yeah. You know what really gets me going is unwanted exposed penis.
yeah, he whips it out, and she's still kind of like, wow, okay, we're almost done. I'm just gonna finish this, and then I'm getting the fuck out, right? I'm gonna get paid. I'm getting out of here, right? As long as he stays over there behind the camera, it's fine. And I was like, wow, what the fuck is? I said, what happened next? She goes, well, when he finished, he said, and I was like, whoa, what? Like,
whoa,
complete? Like he jerked to completion? Like he finished? And she goes, yeah. I was like, what? Wait a minute. Like, I mean, I feel like I get it if he's gonna whip it out because I've heard that story before, but I've never heard anybody like go like jerk to completion. Like just he finished the fucking job. And that part blew me away. Everything else, I was fine. I was like, yeah, I've heard this story before, up until the completion part. And then I guess he's just like, he pays her and he leaves. Like, just wait, you have fucking video. You are literally taking video of this moment right now with probably a better perspective than what you have at the behind the camera 25 feet away, you know? Just watch the video later, man. But to completion, that threw me off. He finished, like and I didn't go into details later, so I don't know like if he just came in his hand or like on the floor or some shit. I have no idea. But sock.
You're like sitting there as she's telling this story the whole time, just like hands on chin, completely enraptured.
I was taking photos, right? And I told her, I said, I assure you, at no point during the shoot will I whip it out and start jacking it. I definitely, if I happen to for some reason, I definitely will not finish. I promise you this. I promise you.
Should be on your business card.
Will not jerk to completion during shoot. So yeah, that's my jerk off story that I absolutely had to tell you.
If I accidentally start jerking at mid shoot, I will not finish.
Yeah, our guarantee.
I've got a new slogan for you, Mike. Jesus Christ.
Oh man.
Well, so speaking of, never mind. I'm not even gonna segue from that. I would like to be finished with that story. Jesus Christ. So anyway, this is interesting news that has nothing to do with what we were just talking about at all. There was this drama, and we were talking before the show, and you don't know much about it, so I'm going to explain it as best I can, and also so anyone listening understands it. I guess you guys are important, too. But, so, Kotakke ran an article, like a week or so ago, that was sort of talking about, like, peeling back the magic curtain and showing how games are made. And so they, like, one of the things that they did was they had this GIF that sort of showed the concept behind a process called Frustum Culling, which I don't know. I don't know what either of those words actually mean in this context, especially frustum. That's strange. I guess I know what culling means, but I don't know how one culls a frustum. But anyway, basically what frustum culling is something that a game engine does where it doesn't render, like try to visually render things that you can't see. It pays attention to what the camera is pointing at, and if the camera isn't pointing at something, then it doesn't render it, which is an important thing in the engine for performance reasons. Kotakke ran an article that had a GIF that was basically showing that off, and like had an illustrated camera, went back and forth, and you saw things like popping up and disappearing. And then there was a bunch of developers on Twitter that just started like shitting on Kotakke, because they were like, and I don't know who the developers actually were. This is where it starts to get weird.
Right.
I don't know who the developers actually were, but they started like tweeting things like, why are you explaining such a basic thing as frustum culling? And everyone knows what frustum culling is.
Yeah, I'm reading this too. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Welcome to Frustum Culling.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was one of those, like, the article was getting responded to very well on Kotakke. All the comments were all very positive. Because it's like, oh, wow, this is cool. It never had occurred to me that a game engine might have to make objects not exist when it's not looking at them. Like, that's not exactly obvious. And then Polygon ran an article on the developers. So it's like, now Polygon was shitting on these developers who were shitting on Kotakke. And...
Okay, now it makes sense.
It's just a bizarre situation all around.
So the GIF in question, if you haven't seen it, you can just Google Frustum Culling and probably Kotakke or something like that, and you'll be able to see the GIF. It's actually really, really fucking cool. And if you're like really, really fucked up late at night, and thinking about it, this shit could blow your mind. Like, think about when you're in a game. Right. Think about when you're inside of a game world and you're looking through the eyes of that character, right? Or, the camera that's following them around. And as you look around, you're like, wow, I'm in this great, big, huge world. Like, this is crazy. This is like this. It goes on beyond. Like, I could even see it, but I could walk over to whatever that is. It's amazing, But now you look at this GIF, you're like, oh my god. When I don't look at it, it doesn't exist. And then you start looking around the room, and you're like, oh my god. Trying to look at things that you're not looking at like 2 seconds earlier, like trying to look at things really quick to see if they're rendering or whatever. And then you realize that inside of the game, like there's nothing. There's like, what's behind you? Is it a frame? No, it's nothing. Like, why would they render anything around you? Is it a gray box? No, it's probably fucking nothing, because why would they waste cycles rendering anything for you?
Yeah. I mean, you think about it, man. Elon Musk says we're 99% likely or whatever it is that we're living in a simulation.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe you don't exist when I'm not looking at you. Maybe you only make noises right now because I can't see you.
No, you are the one that only makes noises when I am talking to you. You're the one. I just want to make sure that we're clear. When we hang up, you disappear.
That's exactly what someone who didn't want to disappear would say.
I totally had like this existential moment. Like, right, I was thinking about this. I saw this GIF like 2 nights ago, and I was again really fatigued from a fucked up week, and I was really fucked up, and I was just like sitting there, and I was just like, whoa, and I kept going like into it, and really kind of getting my mind into that mindset of being inside of a game while I was like laying in bed, and I'm just like, it's like in like Grand Theft Auto, and it's like, but what's behind me? Like, I'm trying to think like, what's behind me, and part of my brain's like, nothing. I go, what's nothing? It's like, it's nothing, man. It's not even black. It just doesn't exist. There's nothing there. And I was like, whoa. Oh, man. But it is a very cool thing. And I think it's hilarious that Kotaku is starting to understand what it's like to be, I don't know, one of us, like a streamer or a content creator, where everybody is fucking smarter than you. No matter what it is, you will never be the best or even top tier, close to top tier at anything that you do, because somebody out there in your comments or in your chat room or whatever is better than you at that thing. Thank you. Welcome to what we do, Kotaku.
And I was also like, what the fuck is going on with these devs too, right? Because like, as someone who spends a lot of time dealing with and having to try to think of ways to limit people just harassing the fuck out of developers because they think they know their game better than them. Like, what the fuck are these guys doing? Like, you guys, you don't understand this at all. You're such noobs, bad noobs.
You mean all you writers don't make games too?
Yeah.
Probably don't even know what a sprint is. This is like all the project managers saying this.
They've never even shifted the binaries.
Dang.
Co-located the front side bus. Anyway. So, speaking of additional topics that we had, we kind of blew through all of our previous topics in like half an hour.
Wow, even with the jerk off story too. Wow, I thought we were really padding that.
I mean, realistically, the jerk off story was only ever going to last about 3 minutes.
All right.
So anyway, man, like the only other thing that I really have is the Last Jedi teaser came out, and it's cool. I don't know. I feel like with the Force Awakens teasers, like even the early teasers they were doing, I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, it's a Star Destroyer. Oh my god, it's a TIE fighter. And then the Last Jedi teaser comes out, and it's freaking Mark Hamill talking like the whole way through. And I'm not excited for the movie. I'm Definitely going to go see it, probably on opening day.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Didn't really do it for me, you know?
I mean, I thought it was.
Maybe I'll try taking some pictures of the trailer while it's playing.
It's yeah, I don't know. Like, it's hard to top the first one back from a long vacation, you know? With The Force Awakens, it was like, you know, you're just like, holy shit, like, wow, we're getting back into that world.
Grandpa Jeff isn't really dead.
Like, you're getting back into that, so you're being reintroduced to all that stuff. So when you see like a Star Destroyer, you're like, holy shit, oh my god, I haven't seen that for, oh my, that's crazy. And this time around, it's like, okay, now we're already established. We have Force Awakens and we have Rogue One, and we know that there's a solo movie coming out, and then we have obviously this one. And so it's I mean, I think it's just, it is what it is. It's like, cool. Like it's kind of like seeing another fucking Fast and the Furious. There's more fucking are there more? No, I think there's 8 Fast and the Furious movies, and there's 6, and then The Force Awakens. Oh my god, wait, no, I can't. Wait, can I? Wait, hold on a second. How many Star Wars movies are there? Are there really more, or just about the same amount of fucking Fast and Furious movies as Star Wars movies?
So if you count Rogue One, then there are currently 7 Star Wars movies.
Oh my god.
No, 8. Sorry. If you count Rogue One, then there's currently 8. If not, then there's 7.
It's a race.
It's a race to see who can get to 9.
It's a race. They're gonna like, who's gonna have the most? I don't know. In this series, I can't believe there's 8 fucking movies, and apparently it's gonna be like huge. Anyway, so yeah, Last Jedi, I was like, cool, and that was kind of it, because it was like a teaser, so I don't really feel like we didn't get any story stuff. But at the same time, I didn't really want to get too much story stuff.
No, sure.
Like there's the
it just I don't know. It didn't hit me as hard as the Force Awakens ones was.
Yeah, and you're talking about like the trailer, right? Where you see the little speeder going across, and you see the Star Destroyer or whatever like crashed, and then I think that was...
even like the first, maybe it was like even like the very first teasers for Force Awakens, like I guess maybe that was just a matter of, oh my god, it's finally actually happening. That made it hit so hard for me.
Mm-hmm.
Probably
totally. Yeah, it's gonna be. I'm interested in the movie for obviously a number of reasons, because it's Star Wars and it's a sci-fi movie and all that good shit. But I'm also interested what they end up doing with Carrie Fisher.
And
I wonder. Well, yeah, I mean that's really like her character alone, because I think in the teaser you get like a glimpse, but it's only like from the backside or something like that, like her walking into a room or something. But yeah, I'm curious with her character.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Rogue One, right?
Yep.
In like, so what they had with Grand Moff Tarkin and young Carrie Fisher in that. I think there's like, I kind of hope they don't do that, because that was one of the things that really bothered me about Rogue One. Like it just wasn't quite realistic enough, or it was almost too realistic in a way that it then felt fake.
Right.
I don't know. I don't think they got it quite right, and it made it very jarring.
Yeah.
Versus if they just like stuck to long shots or something.
Yeah, I think we talked about this before when the movie came out. It was all about like presentation. I felt like they didn't necessarily present it correctly. Like just putting it in your face instead of kind of leaving it in the shadows. Like when they did Flynn or in Tron Legacy, right? When they did that to make young Flynn. The real life version that you get a glimpse of at the beginning of the movie, before kind of like a little flashback scene, that looked weird. That looked really creepy. But then when you see Clue, which has Flynn's face, it's in his likeness, right? Spoiler alert, I guess. When you see him, he is young Flynn, basically model after young Flynn. It doesn't look weird to me in the Tron universe, because it's in the Tron universe.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the Force Awakens thing, I thought that was kind of forced. It was kind of, I feel like Disney was like kind of showing off. It's like, look what we could do, ha ha ha. Stiff eyebrows.
And apparently, I'd missed this actually, but apparently, not only did they already film all of her scenes for The Last Jedi, which I did know.
Yeah, they're not going to do the CG thing for her.
Yeah, but my question was more what was going to happen in 9, and apparently in whatever Star Wars Episode 9 ends up being, but apparently they said that she's not in it, which makes me wonder if it's going to be like and she just has to go elsewhere and isn't part of the story because they decided to do that after she died, or if like the whole time the plan has been like spoilers, kill Han off in number 7, kill Leia off in number 8. I don't know. Now I have weird theories that I don't like to have about movies because it is related to the state of the actors and actresses instead of
and
the actual like story.
It's a weird position to be in, right? Like we've had actors, Dumbledore, right? We've had actors die, mid swing. But I don't feel like they could say, okay, yeah, Leia is now being written off into a side story that we're not going to get to ever again or something. I can't imagine they will ever do that because that would be the shittiest thing you could possibly do. Like, here's a major character from the beginning and is now. I know that people understand. You could say, oh yeah, people understand. They'll understand. No, like you have to give us better. Like you have to get us better. I'm just a regular dude, right? You're Disney. Pay somebody to come up with something better. Like maybe they're not going to CG her, but they'll use a voice actress or something like that to, maybe relay comms or something like that in a later movie or whatever they plan on doing, right? I don't know. I have no idea, but I can't imagine they're going to just say, and now after, 7 or 8, episodes, like now she's going to go off into the Great Horizon or whatever. It's just not going to happen.
They just like walk into the rebel base or whatever they call it in the. Are they still rebels? I don't actually remember anymore. Like the resistance or whatever.
Like switched up.
Yeah, just walk into the rebel base and it's like, oh, she's out for pizza. She'll be back in a bit. And then the movie moves on. And then later you end up back at the rebel base. It's like, oh yeah, she had a dentist's appointment.
She's
not here today.
She was right here, but
Oh, she's in the break room. Maybe you can catch her over there. Yeah.
Yeah. She had a part originally in 9, but I know that's been beat to death. But they have to do something with her character though. That's the thing. They have to do something with her character, and I feel like killing her off would be quite fucking jarring to a lot of people.
Yeah,
I just can't. That one I also can't see happening. So I don't know. I don't know. I guess we'll obviously we'll see. What is it? This December, right?
Yeah.
Every Christmas is going to be a Star Wars movie.
Pretty much.
For the foreseeable future.
Yeah. I'm literally out of topics. I guess we could talk about Battlegrounds.
All right. Don't get your PUBGs up from this point
is actually
forward.
a good thing. This is actually good because I think the last time we did a show, you were talking about how you couldn't recommend PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds because of a bug that they totally had and had nothing to do with anything else that was running on your computer at the time.
Oh, no. Don't no. There was something that we were trying to isolate, and it looked like it was something that was not on my machine. And so it was something that I wanted to wait to hear from the devs. They never got back to me. And I couldn't recommend the game based off of that. I just want to be neutral. I couldn't, right? It just made perfect sense. I couldn't recommend the game because it wouldn't fucking run after the first day. So I did end up finding out what it was. It's funny because every time I bring it up, someone's like, "Did you run it in admin mode?" And fuck you. Like, go fuck a wall. Like, get out of my face.
Wait, what?
I don't know. It was the first thing I saw when I was looking for something. So, of all things, it was the Space Engineers dedicated server that was preventing it from connecting. And I think, if I recall, so I had the game open and everything was great. We played the first day. And then I think that Space Engineers had an update or something like that. And if you've ever run a server, I think it's what it was, right? If you ever run a server, for Space Engineers, and probably for other games too if they do this. But I think Space Engineers is kind of special snowflake because they're one of the few that actually runs it as a service that starts up with your fucking computer. The only thing that changed is I restarted my computer. I think I mentioned that. It's like I restarted my computer. That's the only thing that changed. And then all of a sudden PUBG wouldn't open up. Because when I restarted my computer, Space Engineers dedicated server is a service. It starts up with the computer and it came on. And I had shut it down prior and disabled it, but the fucking thing kept on putting itself back in. And so disabling that actually allowed PUBG to work. Of all fucking things, of everything we did.
Yeah, it is. I think I said this on the day, but I thought it was just funny because it's like Space Engineers now breaking other games.
Exactly.
Expanded the Space Engineers feature set. Introduced bugs into completely different product.
Oh man, yeah, it was just super frustrating. But now I've played a bit. The only times I played a couple times offline, like off stream, like last week. But the majority of my playtime has actually been on stream, and I'm having a really good time. Like we get in and like you and I have done duos. Get in and then we just. Oh yeah, that's a good one. And then we just either get fucked up because we jump out with everybody else, or we manage to pacifist mode all the way to the end, and then get shot because the circle gets too small.
Yeah. I mean, part of that is like I'm naturally averse to conflict, so I'm always like, because I'm usually like, you're usually saying, hey, where should we go? Where should we go? Where should we go? Just because I had played it for like a day before you started playing it. That I guess we never really stopped. I don't know. It became a weird habit that I decide where we're going in the game. And I'm always like, my immediate thought is, where might I find loot but not people so that I can collect the loot easily? Because I'm just like min-maxing in my head. But it is a whole lot more fun when you just jump out and just go balls out immediately. Like it's good to, I think, every once in a while be like, all right, I actually want to get to the late game of this game, so I'm going to play a little bit careful. But I don't know. I'm starting to enjoy the, okay, we're going to land and we're going to hope to find a gun in the first 30 seconds. Otherwise we lose.
Yeah. It's if you play single player, if you play solos, you could play it like COD, basically, right? You just get out and then grab as much as you can and just go ham on and everybody you see. I think what I love about it is that it's not it gives you that DayZ feeling, but also not. It's kind of like the Nintendo controller thing, right? Like it's not quite DayZ, but it feels better in some way. It's kind of like a modern Nintendo controller with contours, right? To fit your hand, so it doesn't hurt quite as bad. It's you can get in, you can play a couple matches in 30 minutes. Like if you get like last night, it was like 12:30, let's cut it off, and then 12:22, and it's like let's just have a YOLO game, right? Or whatever, like just go in and hop out, and we finished at 12:32. Like it really took no time at all to get out, but you have such a large map that you could explore. And you have, obviously the RNG of finding stuff. There's like a hot spots to find things like apartment buildings and whatnot. You have to clear those, and there's just a lot of there's a lot of intensity that just comes out of nowhere. Like you and I were holed up in that apartment building for so long. Yeah. And that Jeep that came by, and you were taking pot shots at the guys going for the cash. Like everything was happening around us. We didn't even have to move.
Yeah, it's. Like it's really done the sort of like Survivor games. Like you think back to the original Survivor games that like you cast with Shizzle. Even back then, they were like, all right, we're just gonna contract the area every so often. But they were doing it by like having a helicopter flying around that would just shoot people if they were outside of the area that they were supposed to be in or whatever.
That's right.
But like then H1Z1 came along with their Battle Royale mode, which then became H1Z1 King of the Kill. And everyone was like, okay, yeah, this kind of works. It's too bad this game is kind of janky, but this system actually works. And so Playerunknown, being the guy who like made the original Battle Royale mod for Arma 2, which was also kind of where this thing came from, was a merging of the ideas of DayZ and this Battle Royale mod. he made that original mod, met up with a bunch of devs that were willing to just sort of do whatever he wanted, I guess. And now we have a version of that kind of gameplay in a way that makes a lot of sense, because turns out it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Third time's a charm for him, I guess, right? Or
Yeah.
fourth or fifth. I'm not sure how many times he's made this game. But yeah, it's loads of. I don't think I haven't gotten first. They call it chicken dinner, right? I haven't gotten first once. But it hasn't deterred me from playing, because I don't care if I mean, it's a goal to get in top 10. Anything above top 10 is like, that's a treat, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But if I get into a good firefight and I lose, I'm okay with it, because it was a good firefight. It was a lot of fun. If I'm being tracked down, or if I'm shot while I'm driving by in a car, you know what? I'm probably the asshole that was driving by in a fucking car.
Yeah. Yeah, it really delivers well and regularly. Like, part of the problem that you run into in completely open games like DayZ is you can go and you can be playing for 8 hours and never see another player, even if you're on a relatively populated server. So you miss out on those moments of, oh god, there's someone else here. It's gonna be him or me that leaves this place. Oh god, like you start to kind of freak out a little bit. And that's the sort of feeling that it's tough for games to get across in general. So like when you're playing DayZ, it's totally worth it to play for like 8 hours to get one hit of whatever that is.
Yeah.
But Battlegrounds does a really good job of just making that happen regularly. Part of it is the way the buildings and the maps are laid out as well. Like as the circle sort of contracts, the circle that you can't really go outside, you take damage, sort of contracts. It tends to contract in ways where you're like, oh man, there's that really cool building that's going to be towards the edge. I can go and get in that building. I'll hole up over there and I'll be in such a great spot. And then the next time it contracts, now like your building is completely outside of the circle and you're going to have to run across an open field towards a shack somewhere. God. And then you're like, oh fuck. And that's kind of like, that's very RNG heavy. And I know a lot of people play it and get pissed off at the RNG, but I don't know. I'm starting to really, really like games with a lot of RNG, because it comes down to a matter of risk mitigation and like thinking to yourself, like it's still gameplay and it still requires a lot of skill. In a lot of ways, I would say having at least some RNG elements adds skill to things, because it's figuring out how to deal with good RNG, figuring out how to deal with bad RNG, in a situation like it keeps you from getting into those situations where you're like, all right, I am standing in this spot. I know the best direction to go is to get to this other spot because I just have done this so many times, and I'm going to follow the exact correct thing, and I'm going to know all of the time that it's the correct choice. Mm-hmm. By having those sort of random elements in there, you run into like situations where you're like, okay, there's someone over there somewhere. I think he's kind of that way, but I can't be sure. No matter what, I'm going to be taking a chance here. Which chance do I favor? Yeah. You're right, and that's a big thing for that's the feedback that I've heard, especially when we started streaming it. A lot of people are, they don't come around anymore, I think, because we're streaming it so often. But yeah, if you're not into the kind of game where you can just go collect a lot of cool shit and then just die and not even know who shot you. If you're not okay with that happening every once in a while, then that's it. You're done. Like, just don't even bother. You're never gonna like this game. Sometimes you just lose because the RNG gods decreed it. Exactly. Yeah. Somebody else. So that field you were crossing, there was a house right there that a guy will have to walk into that had a scope and a sniper rifle. And guess what? That's just bad luck for you, because all that shit was basically random, because the circle could have been somewhere else where you're supposed to be the zone. The plane could have came from some other angle. That guy could have decided to leave earlier or later than you. You decided to turn left when you were descending instead of turning right. Like, there's all of this shit. And you're right. Like, everything is risk. From the second you see where that plane is coming from, you are immediately calculating risk. And the risk reward is what? Like, it's like, okay, do we go for the first town? Do we go for the town that's just a little off the beaten path? Our deployer shoots early, try to go as far as we can. Do we dive and try to get a vehicle and get out of there? Do we just go right for the warehouses that everyone's going for and just pray to God that we get the shotgun first, or whatever the fuck it is? Like, there's always going to be risk reward with it, and that's what makes it fun, because if you fuck up, you've only lost like 15 to 20 minutes. Yeah, exactly. And like It sort of helps really drive home a mentality that I think is really important for enjoying games, especially the way that design has been trending lately, which is just being willing to accept that you're gonna just lose sometimes. And there's nothing you could have done. You just lost in this situation. Like I remember when I was first playing Destiny, and I started getting into the PvP, I was like, wow, PvP in this game is bullshit. Sometimes one of these blade dancers just pushes his button and I guess gets a bunch of free kills. And I'm like, I was like still thinking about it in that sort of like Call of Duty sense where it's like the goal is to get like 300 kills and 0 deaths the entire time. And it's like, no, actually in Destiny, what happens is sometimes you just fucking die. And it's okay because in another 20 seconds, you're going to just fucking kill someone. And that's how it works. Like, it's a question of, can you like run and hide from the blade dancer, I guess? Can you get away from him in time? You're not going to kill him. Or like if you hear him use the ability, do you hide or something? And it's those sorts of like dealing with situations like that allow you to enjoy games like PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, I think. Like if you went into PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and thought to yourself, if I don't win this game, then I've lost, you will fucking hate PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds. Because you're gonna lose most games. Yeah, I don't know. It's a really fun game, and I enjoy it a lot, and I think it's doing a lot of really smart things.
Absolutely.
And I've run out of things to say. Oh wait, no, I haven't run out of things to say. I remember that I added a thing to our document.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
We almost forgot to talk about this, and I would have been sad because it's a big deal. So, Twitch announced this morning, I guess, that they're changing the way subscriptions work. Well, not really changing so much as adding functionality to the way their subscriptions work. The big thing and the one that most people are, let's say, discussing right now, is that they're adding 2 new tiers of subs. They're adding a $9.99 or a $10 tier, and a $24.99 or a $25 tier. And those aren't like paying for several months in advance. That is, I've decided that to this streamer, instead of giving them $5, instead of paying $5 a month for my sub, I will pay $10 instead, or I'll pay $25 instead every month.
Yeah.
And it's kind of being rolled out as this like, okay, streamers, do what you want with this, sort of thing. And like I'm sure a lot of streamers' response to this is going to be, well, I guess I'll throw a recolor of an emote in there, just as a you get something for your money sort of thing.
Yeah.
But I expect a lot of streamers to not really use it because it's difficult to use. But that's what's interesting about it, because it means that people who can come up with and have like their own business sense, because remember, like being a full-time streamer is a business now. The people who have the business sense to be able to come up with, okay, if I want to get an extra $5 out of somebody, here is what I need to be able to offer them. If I want to get an extra $25 out of some, or extra, $20 out of someone, then I need to be able to offer them this much more substantial bonus. And it's really just open-ended like that, which is interesting. There's less of a, like, I sub to this streamer and thus get a bunch of instant rewards that the streamer set up a while ago. Like, a lot of people sub for emotes.
Yeah.
Because they want the emotes as much as that they enjoy the streamer, which is why you'll see a lot of streamers who are great streamers but have shit emotes and not getting any subs. That's still the case for the base subscription. And I guess you can add it's like 1 or 2 emotes for each, like unique emotes for each of the other tiers as well.
Yeah, something like that. You can you could basically they could basically have access to emotes that other tiers do not have access to. Yeah, and that's I think that's the biggest problem that people have, and I can't blame them. You know, emotes are a huge thing in for Twitch. It's a major fucking part of Twitch, undeniably. You know, so it's for them to lock someone away behind essentially a paywall. That's upsetting to a number of people.
It's interesting though, because the base subscription is still something being locked behind a paywall, and people aren't upset about that. In fact, when when they added the ability for subs to just, or for people to make their own emotes for subs, that was something that a lot of people received very positively because it was seen as, now I get something for my subscription instead of just throwing some money at the sky and not having to watch ads.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think a lot of people see it as now my sub is going to get more expensive, which isn't true. But
or will be devalued.
Yeah, I guess. I think it's to me that concern is more along the lines of like every Sunday my favorite streamer who gets 10,000 viewers does games with subs, but now he's only going to do games with $25 subs, so I'm not going to be able to get to play with him anymore, sort of thing. And I think that would be a bad way for a streamer to go about this distinction.
Yes.
But I think a lot of streamers are probably going to do that because they want to be able to take their existing amount of effort and make more money off of it, which is the mistake that a lot of budding streamers make.
Yeah, I can't see why somebody I can see why someone would do it. At the same time, I can't see how they would logically like come to that conclusion that that's what they need to do, especially when they consider that by devaluing $5 subs in any way, whether it's because of the $10 or $25, you're shunning them, you're pushing them away, and maybe that's all that person needed to be like, well, fuck you, I'm out. I don't need this anymore.
It's the sort of thing that's intuitive. Like that sort of thing is intuitive to people like you and me because we think about this from a business perspective. There are a lot of streamers who still get a fair chunk of viewers and have a fair chunk of subs, to whom their knowledge of how to stream correctly basically is, how do I turn on OBS? And they have not thought about the business side of it really much at all.
Right.
It's the sort of thing that, like, working in a community especially, I don't really work directly with streamers too much anymore, but I used to. And every once in a while, man, there'd be like some streamer that takes 3 weeks to respond to emails at the business address that they've handed out because someone told them that a business address was a good idea, or like doesn't understand things like how traveling works and so on. Like, I don't know. Every once in a while you run into people like that, and I think those people are more numerous than you really end up finding out.
Yeah, I think
because a lot of like the mid-tier streamers.
Yeah, I think Han Chana first puts it pretty succinctly here. It says enough rope to hang yourself. Like, and that's what they're giving everybody. Here's enough rope to hang yourself. We've probably all heard this growing up too. And it's possible that some people will end up fucking themselves. Something else though that I want to bring up, and Cogni also mentions it here too, kind of indirectly, is that it's not written anywhere as far as I've seen, but I'm 100% certain that Twitch is taking half of whatever the amount is. If it's at least so if it's $25, then they're getting $12.50. And that I think is really weird because, and this is the point that Incogni made, was like, why not just have somebody go to and have a $20 Patreon that they could go and subscribe to, and that will and they'll get more from it. So obviously everybody here probably knows I have a couple Patreons, one for photography, one for gaming. And the reason why the benefit of running those for those things, for the YouTube side and for the photography side, is the cut from that is really, really good. I think that Patreon takes like 3 to 5% or something like that. Whereas on Twitch side, and obviously Twitch's infrastructure costs a shitload more than Patreon's does, they're taking, half. So while business is booming on the Twitch side, the cut just is such a huge chunk out of what you get every month that it hurts. It's painful. It's super painful. If like right now, I'm pushing like almost, I'm getting close to 250. I've been hovering around 240 something, to mid 240 something, whatever, for a while. That basically breaks down to like $2,500 in revenue, right? But my take home is $1,250, which is less than what I get from Patreon. Now, obviously, there's 2 different services that I'm comparing here, but just to point out, it's like, why wouldn't a streamer just be like, just go to my Patreon and do whatever? The terms of service, sure, if the Patreon is like, hey, sub to my, be a patron to support my Twitch channel, fucking can as shit, totally. But yeah, it's while we understand there's infrastructure costs, the average streamer might not. So that might kind of ruffle some feathers, I guess, from a streamer in the streamer community.
Yeah, I don't know. I think another reason not to go to a Patreon is just convenience factor. Like, there's a lot to be said for, and I should mention that I absolutely believe that tons of streamers probably will just stick with a Patreon because of the exact reasons that you just said. But I think there's some element of, if I'm going to convince someone to sub to me and also go and support my Patreon, is it going to be twice as easy to say, just take my $25 sub? Because everything, like, if you could turn those tons of people that are giving you $20 onto on Patreon into twice as many that are giving you $12.50 through Twitch, that's still a profit.
Yeah, and I wanna make it fucking crystal clear. You cannot do that. You can't. You cannot promote an identical service, basically a competing service, for basically providing a competing or providing the same service. Does that make sense? It's like, I can't say support me on Patreon. Support my Twitch channel on Patreon. You can't do that.
Right. Yeah.
However, if I were to say support my Patreon, and you'll be supporting all of my gaming endeavors, and at the $25 tier, I'll send you a picture of my penis every month, then that's different. Now I'm providing a different service, right?
You're providing a penis.
I'm providing a penis, yes. After completion.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's pretty much easy to work around, like you say.
And it's so don't think. Hopefully, like, if there's any like budding streamers out there thinking they're gonna jump on Patreon, don't fucking do it. Like, you're totally gonna jeopardize your shit. That's why my shit's for YouTube and for fucking photography, shit that I cannot do on Twitch.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that part of these new changes are interesting. The bigger one to me personally that's worth mentioning is just the change to how the emotes, the slots unlock.
Yeah.
It's one of those, like, why has it taken this long for this to happen? Mm-hmm. So for people who might not be aware, previously on Twitch, when you collect, so I guess still on Twitch, when you get enough subscribers, there's these like breakpoints that unlock more emote slots. So you start off with, like, you can have 2 emotes, and then you get to, I think it's 10 subscribers, then it goes up to 2 emotes, and then you get up to, like, no, I think it's 25 is gets you to 2, and then 50 gets you to 4.
Yeah, there was a screenshot floating around because it's not on the thing right now, but yeah, I saw it. It's broken down so you actually gain them more quickly.
Yeah. But basically sorry, I got confused. Basically, the way the system has always worked is the more subscribers you have, the more emote slots you get. Previously, if you broke one of those breakpoints, so like you hit 51 subscribers and now you've unlocked 2 more emote slots, but then didn't get those emotes added before 2 people unsubscribed from you, which dropped you down to 49,
oh my God,
then you just lost those emote slots.
Oh man.
I've had that happen to me before, where I was really excited. I was like, yeah, we're gonna add new emotes tomorrow. Then I woke up the next day to add them, and like 2 people's subs had just run out. And so it was like, well, shit. Guess I'm not adding those after all.
Yeah.
It's always been super frustrating. And even like even big streamers get like lulls sometimes, where it's like, I was above this. I had 2,000 2 weeks ago. But I've been kind of busy these last 2 weeks, so I lost 200 subs. And for them, that's like, I'll gain another 200 subs in a weekend. But that means that they've dipped below that amount. And if they end up staying below that amount, like maybe they get injured or something, by the time they come back, they're so far behind that they not only are they not able to earn new emote slots, but the only way previously to change out an emote was to delete an old one and then add a new one back in. Mm-hmm. And that's a problem when you can't add new ones in. It still lets you delete them, and it didn't give you any sort of warnings like, if you delete this, then you won't be able to add a new one. So I've seen quite a few streamers with like 5 emotes because they fucked it up.
Yeah.
So basically the change now is when you unlock emote slots, and you just have that many and you keep them no matter what. And it's a really, really basic change that probably isn't going to have too much effect on the end user, except you'll see streamers a lot more willing to switch out emotes that aren't really being used to try and get more people to subscribe. They'll like think to themselves, "Oh, this emote isn't very good. If I make a better one or pay for a better one, then maybe more people will sub."
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and it's I think the best example is like there's a couple people who didn't go to TwitchCon when Twitch Prime was announced, and they were streaming when all the big streamers were at TwitchCon. So those people who were probably like mid to high range are now in the high range or the top tier range. They're getting spammed. So you could have a guy who maybe has 250 subs or something, and he probably got a fucking crazy Twitch Prime sub train of like, you know, anywhere from 150 to, you know, 1,000, because that shit was happening, you know, like there were people getting crazy sub trains. And what happens after that first month? You change our emotes and you're like, yay. And after that first month, you will probably never be able to change them again. And if you have some shit ones in there because you were like, because things were happening and things were going crazy, and you know, oh, I need to make some emotes, and you put them out there, you don't really think about it. There's no real plan to test them anywhere. Well, now you're just kind of stuck with them forever with shit emotes. And like you said, you can have great streamers with shit emotes, because if they change one, let's say if they have 10 unlocks, right? If they change one, maybe now they only have 3 unlocks available.
yeah.
Oh, man.
And like, you've been able to, at least a lot of streamers have been able to email partner help, and they'll just like figure it out for them. But that's something that's not really obvious, and it's also a pain in the ass.
I didn't know that.
So yeah.
Because I feel like that process, I think because I logistically went through it in my head, is that there's no way they're going to have, you know, hundreds of partners who drop below, email them 3 different copies of each individual emo in order to update them manually. It's not going to happen. But apparently,
I don't know if it was like, I've heard from a streamer friend that they were able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that, like, maybe that was a fluke and they just happened to hit a customer service agent who was feeling particularly helpful in a given day. I don't know. Either way, it's a good. I think the changes overall are good. It'll be interesting to see how streamers deal with the new $10 and $25 tiers. But I think that's largely going to be in the hands of the streamers.
Mm-hmm.
How widely accepted that will become, and then the emote changes are just a pure net positive.
Yeah, absolutely. One thing I would like to see Twitch do is implement a better stat tracking for emotes. That'd be good. Yeah, just that way I can look and see how a particular emote is performing, wherever, whether they use it on my channel or somewhere else. Like, Cliff just mentioned, he's like, so it was mentioned, that the Darnell emote doesn't get used on my channel basically ever. And Kotakke mentioned this, and then Cliff says that, well, I use it other places all the time. But that's something I didn't know that, because Kotakke said Darnell emote doesn't get used. I was like, yeah, it really does get used, but it's Darnell, so I kind of feel like, whatever. And then Cliff says I use it all the time elsewhere. It's like, oh well, fuck, I wouldn't have known that if it wasn't brought up. And so because I can't see the actual stats of where it's being used, that sucks, so yeah, I want to know which ones I could change out, because right now I'm kind of guessing. It's like I know what they use in Discord. Discord's actually my testing platform. I have a bunch of custom emotes in there, and people now I see it's like, oh yeah, people are using. There's a handful of them that I'm certain I can move over, and those will get more performance, more traction than some of the ones I have right now. Emote stat tracking, Twitch, please.
Yeah. Yes, please. So anyway, I think we successfully stretched to a full episode.
We did.
Good job.